The lights drop low and the crowd hums with excitement. Chris Rock, one of comedy's sharpest minds, steps into the spotlight. But tonight's buzz isn't just about jokes. Meghan Markle just landed a title no one dreams of in 2025, one of the most disliked public figures of the year. No trophy, no speech, just headlines everywhere. Hard to believe that not long ago, few even knew her beyond a quiet legal drama and small screen fame. Now, just a few years later, she's at the center of global debate that's gone totally wild. The shock isn't just the backlash, it's who joined in. Top comedians, talk shows, even animated series took their turn. And get this, critics say Meghan gave them plenty to work with. Every interview, every polished statement, every special sparked even more attention.
They're so racist, they're so racist. Some of that he went through was not racism. It was just some in-law.
This wasn't online gossip, it was prime-time commentary from people who usually play it safe. These weren't reckless talkers, they were A-listers who knew exactly what backlash they were courting. Yet one by one, they jumped in. So what changed? When big-name comics finally stopped dodging the subject and started questioning her story, the tone flipped overnight. It stopped being about jokes and turned into something bigger, commentary on image, branding, and the fine line between storytelling and reality. That's when things really blew up. One comedian lit the spark by questioning how certain experiences were framed in interviews. He didn't rely on cheap shots, he used sharp contrast, lining up public claims against public records, exposing the gaps with perfect timing that had everyone talking.
Sometimes it's just some in-law because she's complaining. I'm like, what the she talking about? No, they're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby was gonna be. They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist.
Supporters called it unfair. Critics said he was just being real. And suddenly, whispers turned into headlines. From that moment, the gloves were off. The vibe flipped from quiet side-eye to full-on debate. Love it or hate it, one thing's clear. Meghan's narrative got hit with a storm, and it spread fast. Think about it. She married into one of the oldest, most traditional royal systems ever, a world built on centuries of protocol and press pressure. But when she later opened up about how hard it was, some comedians saw irony there. Chris Rock didn't sugarcoat a thing. He basically said, if you join a system with that kind of history and spotlight, you can't act shocked when it's intense. His message hit hard. You knew the stage was massive the moment you stepped on it.
Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be.
Then he tackled the comment that set off global headlines, the one about what a future child might look like. Meghan called it deeply troubling, but Chris Rock flipped the lens completely. He argued that conversations about looks happen in all kinds of families, and they don't always mean something dark. That line made the air thick with tension. When a black comedian said it on stage, the mood changed fast. Suddenly, agreeing with him didn't feel risky. It felt like open debate. That moment cracked the door wide open. Soon after, Joe Coy took the mic at the Golden Globes, one of the biggest stages in entertainment, and dropped a single line that hit hard. He compared Harry and Meghan's story to a drama about a rich, chaotic family where nothing really happens. The crowd instantly got it. Award hosts usually play it safe, smiling through light jokes, but Joe didn't hold back. He went right for it and kept it raw.
If you could choose one thing for people to know the truth about you, what would that one thing be?
The one thing, oh gosh, what's the one thing?
Is ever intended to hurt my family.
Then came the bombshell, the streaming deal. Reports claimed the couple scored tens of millions, but critics started asking what actually came out of it, what projects really connected with people. When a comedian questions that in a room of Hollywood's elite and they laugh, it speaks volumes about how the industry truly feels. Then Jimmy Kimmel stepped into the conversation, adding his own sharp twist. He pointed out what everyone had been quietly thinking. Harry and Meghan said they left royal life because of mistreatment and endless scrutiny, only to move to the US, a country with its own messy social history. Kimmel didn't even need the punchline. He let the silence do it. The audience connected the dots instantly. Next, he turned to Harry's memoir, 600 pages packed with pain, family drama, and royal tension. Kimmel underlined the contrast, a prince born into massive privilege, writing chapter after chapter about hardship.
That I managed to persuade her to come and join me in Botswana, and we camped out with each other under the stars, and she came and joined me for 5 days out there, which was absolutely fantastic. So then we were really by ourselves.
That irony hit hard. Supporters said pain isn't erased by money, while critics claimed context matters, and when late-night hosts say it out loud, people listen. The real shift wasn't just in the humor, it was the tone. The politeness was gone, replaced by bold, unfiltered critique that showed how fast public opinion was changing. Once top entertainers decided the topic was fair game, the commentary poured in non-stop. Kimmel didn't just tease the memoir, he flipped it into a children's book bit on national TV, and the crowd loved it. Instead of anger, he used playful mockery, shrinking royal drama into something light and ridiculous, and that's exactly what made it sting. What really struck people wasn't just the personal stories, it was how deeply private family moments got packaged, printed, and sold worldwide. Tales about his grandmother, father, and brother turned into bestsellers. Kimmel didn't exaggerate, he just pointed and laughed, and the crowd went right with him. Then Jimmy Fallon jumped in, zooming in on something really ridiculously small, yet it somehow made people even more irritated. Meghan posted a video about pretzels, not baking them, not sharing a recipe, just pouring them from one bag into another fancy container. That was it.
It happened a few weeks ago, earlier this month, here at our cottage. Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cozy night. It was...
Fallon brought it up on air, and the audience froze, half amused, half confused. Here's someone living in a luxury California mansion, showing off snack organization like it's life-changing advice. That gap between real-world struggles and that kind of content felt huge. For many, it slid from funny to tone deaf in seconds. Then came the interviews, first Oprah, then a streaming doc, then more high-profile specials, all with the same message: we want privacy and peace. Yet every message came through another global media spotlight.
People noticed. At some point, critics stopped seeing it as personal storytelling. They saw a pattern, chasing privacy while staying front and center. That contradiction fed late-night jokes for months. Stephen Colbert didn't even have to push hard. The material spoke for itself. Meghan shared that she and Harry call each other H&M, like the clothing brand, saying it sweetly, as if it were cute. But Colbert's reaction said everything. The audience cracked up instantly. For a couple who stepped back from royal life to be normal, that branding-style nickname felt corporate, like they'd turned their relationship into a logo. Let's be real, regular couples don't announce pet names on national TV. It came off less romantic and more like PR strategy. Then Colin Jost took a sharper angle, calling out the awkward middle ground they seem stuck in. Britain feels distant, America seems unsure, and they don't quite belong in either. His joke hit because it wasn't loud, it was honest. Jost dug deeper into Harry's shift too. Before leaving, he had a clear public role, flawed but rooted in duty and service. After stepping away, that image dissolved. Critics say he swapped stability for chaos, while fans insist he chose freedom. But either way, everything changed. When comedians start turning your new life chapter into a running sketch, it's not just a joke anymore, it's a signal. The world sees you differently now, and Saturday Night Live drove that home, portraying their new era as awkward, uncertain, and a little lost. When the biggest sketch show in the country starts parodying your relationship, it says a lot about the public mood. It doesn't mean everyone agrees, it means the story has gone beyond gossip into full-blown mainstream humor. Trevor Noah's shift showed that better than anything. At first, he backed Meghan hard, questioning the royal system and calling out its history, but then one viral clip flipped everything. Harry was caught on camera at a movie premiere chatting with Disney CEO Bob Iger, pitching voiceover work for Meghan. It wasn't scandalous, just wildly unexpected. Royal unions once symbolized power and diplomacy. Now it looked like Hollywood networking. That image alone changed Trevor's tone completely. From that point on, his commentary got sharper, not cruel, just clear. He said it looked less like an escape from the palace and more like a rebrand, a move from royal duties to entertainment deals. Once people saw it that way, it stuck. Then Bill Maher jumped in with his trademark analysis. He said the real issue is wanting the spotlight and resenting it at the same time, complaining about media pressure, then launching books, shows, and interviews worldwide. He compared it to Queen Elizabeth's style, decades of quiet service, no public complaints. That contrast, he said, explains the backlash. Different eras, different rules, but completely different optics. It all came down to perception. When you talk about hardship while living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, people hear it differently. Fair or not, that's just how it lands. And when comedians across networks start hitting the same points, you know the public mood is shifted big time. By this point, most viewers couldn't ignore the contradiction anymore. You can talk about privilege or you can talk about pain, but mixing both in the same sentence, that throws people off fast. That clash became the heart of the backlash. The logic was simple. If you're living at the top, your message has to fit that reality. When it doesn't, audiences don't just shrug, they push back hard. Bill Maher doubled down on that view, breaking it down like a branding issue instead of a personal jab, and that made his take hit harder. Then Nikki Glaser stepped in with her trademark bluntness, turning the whole thing into a strategy breakdown. She said Hollywood fame can be slow and brutal until Meghan met Harry and everything exploded. Nikki framed it as timing plus opportunity. Take Harry out of the picture, she hinted, and the global obsession never happens. It was sharp, raw, and uncomfortable, and people couldn't stop talking. Then the British comedians jumped in, and suddenly the tone changed again. In the US, it felt playful and sarcastic, but in the UK, it cut deeper. Jimmy Carr kicked it off by spotlighting a contradiction he called too obvious to miss. Meghan built her image on independence and self-made success, then suddenly stepped straight into royal life. For Jimmy Carr, that switch felt jarring. He didn't yell or mock, he just laid the two images side by side, and the audience instantly got the message. Their reaction said it all. Then he brought up a moment from Harry's past, the infamous costume that caused worldwide backlash years ago. Harry's spoken about regret and personal growth since then, but Carr's point was crystal clear. History doesn't vanish. No matter how much you rebrand, the internet never forgets, and in the UK, people remember even longer. Money became another hot button. British critics zoomed in on the public cost of royal security and travel during Meghan's early royal years. For everyday taxpayers, hearing about private jets and palace life while struggling with bills hit hard. Whether fair or not, it created emotional distance, and perception shapes everything. Then Kelly Osbourne jumped in with her own take, sharp and straight to the point. She said struggle is universal. Everyone faces pain or pressure. The difference is scale and privilege. Most people don't fight through challenges with global fame and multi-million-dollar deals behind them. Her point wasn't to dismiss Meghan's pain, it was about context, and that's what made it resonate. Kelly ended with a reminder that hit home. No matter how much you apologize, give back, or reinvent, screenshots last forever. That truth hits anyone living in the spotlight. Once something goes global, it's locked in forever. That's the real cost of fame. Simon Brodkin, known for testing limits, actually sat through the entire documentary before speaking out. He said he started skeptical and finished even more frustrated. At first, he admitted the series tackled serious topics like media bias and relentless press pressure, important stuff that deserved attention. But later episodes he felt drifted into melodrama. One line especially stuck out, Harry describing a date as explosive and thrilling. Simon called it over the top, saying it made the serious parts feel watered down. That shift in tone, he claimed, cost them sympathy.
He also poked fun at how long the show spent explaining royal protocol, joking that some traditions could have been summed up in a single sentence instead of stretched over whole episodes. Critics said it wasn't the rules themselves, it was the storytelling that felt drawn out. By the finale, British comedians weren't just joking anymore, they sounded irritated. Their frustration wasn't only with Meghan or Harry, but with the constant tug-of-war over narrative, image, and message. When humor stops being playful and turns sharp, it means the mood has changed. Across the Atlantic, people stayed split. Some said leaving the royal world took guts and honesty. Others said the way they told it blurred the message. But one thing stood out. Once comedians from both sides started riffing on the same theme, it officially became culture talk. And by the time the backlash hit full blast, the loudest takeaway was clear. You can't walk away from an institution, criticize it publicly, and still act shocked when the criticism comes right back. They relocated across the world, signed huge media deals, and still held on to royal titles, and that mix left critics stunned. They stepped away, but never really disconnected. They wanted space, but stayed in the spotlight. That contradiction became the heart of the whole debate. Conan O'Brien spotted the irony perfectly when Madame Tussauds quietly removed their wax figures. Instead of mocking, he leaned into pure absurdity, pretending to interview a museum worker who totally wasn't doing anything weird with the statues. The punchline wasn't mean, it was awkward, and that awkwardness made it sting. When even your wax replica becomes a comedy bit, you know the public view has flipped hard. Then came Meghan's next move, a luxury jam line from Montecito. Small jars, elegant packaging, and a pitch that screamed refined simplicity. On its own, nothing unusual. Celebrities launch products every day, but the timing made it a punchline. Conan kept a straight face describing it, calling it a royal rebrand through jam, and the audience lost it. Critics said the jam wasn't just jam, it was a symbol of how something ordinary was being sold as profound and transformative. That idea stuck. Then John Oliver entered the conversation, and his take hit different. Known for being thoughtful, not trendy, he said the couple seemed trapped in a loop they couldn't escape. His tone wasn't mocking, it was analytical. He pointed out the pattern, claims of wanting privacy, followed by massive publicity pushes, talk of stepping back, followed by global rollouts. For him, the problem wasn't their message, it was the repetition. John Oliver's calm take stuck with people because it wasn't harsh, it felt measured. But while TV kept it classy, the internet turned the volume way up. A popular puppet satire show went viral for its over-the-top version of Meghan, sweet, polished, and humble, yet subtly talking down to everyone around her. The sketches exaggerated real moments fans had already seen. One bit showed her turning a basic cooking demo into a deep life lesson about self-growth. It was clearly parody, but viewers instantly tied it to her real-life image of turning small things into wisdom. Another wild scene flipped the power dynamic. Meghan came off as commanding, while Harry faded into the background. It was cartoonish, but hit a nerve. Supporters called it cruel caricature, while critics praised it as sharp satire. Then, just as fast as it blew up, clips mysteriously started disappearing online, which of course only made people more curious. When you try to bury something online, it just spreads faster. That's the internet effect. Then, South Park took things to a whole new level. Their global privacy tour episode became a cultural bombshell, a couple begging for space while doing interviews, photo shoots, and book tours all over the world. The joke landed because it mirrored reality, no exaggeration needed. South Park has always thrived on calling out contradictions, and this one was too obvious to miss. They even spoofed Harry's memoir as a dramatic tale of privilege wrapped in complaints. The humor wasn't subtle, but audiences got the message instantly and laughed hard. That's the real power of satire. It hits hardest when people instantly recognize the pattern. Then came the house hunting bit, a couple searching for quiet normalcy, filmed by a full production crew. The irony was too perfect, no narration needed. By this point, the criticism wasn't random anymore, it was everywhere. American hosts leaned on sarcasm, British comedians sliced deeper, animated shows went absurd, and online creators cranked up the exaggeration. The theme stayed the same, asking for privacy while chasing the spotlight, rejecting the royal system while still enjoying its perks, claiming independence while signing big brand deals. Whether that's fair or not depends on how you see it. Supporters say they've earned the right to speak out, build businesses, and shape new lives, and pain doesn't disappear just because you're wealthy. They argue that walking away from royal duty doesn't mean you vanish completely. Critics counter with one simple truth:
Tone matters, optics matter, context matters. When someone talks about struggle surrounded by extreme privilege, people process it differently and react louder. Both sides have points, and that's exactly why this debate refuses to fade. What's undeniable now? Comedy has become the loudest outlet for public frustration. Late-night hosts didn't create the contradictions, they just amplified what people were already whispering about. Once satire locks onto a story, it's impossible to shake loose. Every new project, every interview, every product launch, suddenly it's all part of a bigger narrative. And that's exactly where Harry and Meghan stand now, not just as a couple, but as living symbols of a cultural tug-of-war. The real question is this just the cost of fame in the digital age? When you step into a global spotlight, every move turns into content, every choice becomes commentary. The internet never forgets, and comedy never sleeps. But did they underestimate how their message would land with regular people, especially juggling real-world struggles? That's the core of it. Some say the backlash went too far, turning criticism into cruelty. Others argue it was deserved, a natural response to mixed messaging and media overload. The truth probably sits somewhere in the messy middle. What's undeniable is how fast the public mood flipped, and once it did, the jokes came non-stop. So now I want to hear from you. Did Harry and Meghan bring this storm of satire on themselves, or did the media and comedy world blow it out of proportion? Drop your real thoughts in the comments below. I read them all. And if you like this breakdown, hit that like, subscribe, and share button to keep this conversation rolling. I'll catch you in the next one.